Welcome back. To wrap up this mini course, we're going to set ourselves a little challenge and hopefully have a little bit of fun along the way. We're going to create a one-page website, hopefully in under 12 minutes. Wish me luck. Okay, to get cracking, we're going to click on this plus icon and add a new blank page. We're going to start with a blank canvas this time. Calling it home. I know we've got a home page on this existing demo site, but we're not going to spend all the time worrying about that right now. So I'm going to edit the site header. I've created myself a little wireframe a few minutes ago, which is really quick and to the point. So I'm going to change the site title logo, and it's going to be a gardening tips. I don't know why I come up with that idea, but that's what we're going with. So that's our title. I'm going to do a little bit of housekeeping as well. Just to change our font, I want to go with a sans serif font as opposed to this serif font option here. And I also want to add some green into the color palette. So our heading is going to be, this is where I need to make sure I choose a font quickly enough. There we go. We're going to go with Efra. Always like that font. And we're going to go with Efra for the paragraphs as well. Keep it really simple. Once I've added a font, it remembers that font pack. And it will add it in for paragraphs. And then we can do the same for buttons as well. Really tight consistency across our fonts across the entire site. One thing we notice is not changed it on the button here, so maybe we have to do that individually. No, we can see that we need to do this for individual buttons. This is eaten into our 12 minutes already. Still not updated that button. Will it do it now? No. Okay, so if I edit the site header, I'm a stickler for getting these things right. Give it one more go. So if we go to elements, okay, there's an option to change where the button goes to. I'm going to cheat and just get rid of that button for now because it's going to really spoil the styling of the site. Right, next stop is go back into the site styles after I've saved it, choose the colors, and I'm going to change this middle color to a green. Okay, it's just locked up a little bit there and went a little bit slow. That's a bit too dark. Go with something like that. There we go. Nice minty green to set off our site nicely. Nearly a quarter of the way in, so we don't have time to spend much more time. I'm going to go with this main header area as our hero unit, because we can get a nice scenic backdrop with this particular hero, and then we can choose maybe a trowel or a garden fork or something in a circle in this section here. So just to give you a heads up in terms of what we're looking to create here, I'm looking to go with a large hero unit, then going into offsetting different images with paragraph content. We're not going to write our content here. We're going to put placeholder content in place. And then we are going to put a news summary block and then wrap it up with a map. Okay. I can edit this, replace or delete it and then re-add. Doesn't really matter which way you do it. Replace would have been quicker. I'm not going to spend too long choosing an image for our banner, but I am looking for something that will work in a landscape format, or a ultra widescreen format, should I say, based on the letterbox ratio of this hero unit here. Okay, that's in place. and we want it to fit. I have to just go from fit to fill again. Okay, so that's in place. I'm going to save it, jump back in, edit the section, change the colors now to a different color pack. So we can see here now that the background, so we can see the entire panel. We've got the image coming down about 3/4 of the way down. Then we've got a background color. So if we leave it on the lightest options, we can see that background is then transparent. But what we need to do is look at the background image now and change the opacity of the overlay. Okay, because this is one of the first things I've spotted, now going over to the fluid editor. As I mentioned at the very start of this course, I have spent very little time with this, so I wanted you to have a kind of an idea of what it's like just to start with this new editor almost from scratch. So what I can do though is I can individually change the color of this text here to white, just so we can see it over top of the image, but I also want to darken this image block as well. So what I need to do now is edit it using the image editor and just bring the brightness down of the image. Maybe just the contrast down as well a little bit so our blacks aren't too heavy. One option is to choose an image which isn't so busy in the center to work with that, but we're over halfway through this tutorial and I need to get a move on. So I'm going to replace this image here. Again, browse stock images. Might just go for a plant or a flower in the middle. What I am looking for is a focus close in on a photo. This one isn't perfect, but I think I'm going to go with that. And let's see if I can go to the design and fit it into a circle. Yes. Okay. So now we have our image with our another image cutting over top of it. We can see the frame here. I think this is looking through glass window, I think. Or that's a clip at the back there to hold the trowels. That's actually forming a nice line with the bottom of the image. That was a happy accident. Okay, so that's our hero done. Now we're going to add a new section below. And let's see if we've got a service breakdown or something like that. That will do the job, or at least get us along the way. Nothing here so far. I'm going to have to do this from scratch. So I'm going to add a blank section, add a text block. Now I'll add an image. I'll use this grid to get the full width in that section. And we're going to go with a larger image. Don't want to upload it from file. I want to find another stock photo. I'm really not being fussy now about the images I'm choosing. Add another image, move it into position, get it overlapping, see what it looks like. Do I need a portrait, landscape, or square image to get this to work? Making mistakes now as I'm rushing. I think we'll go with a closer in shot here this time. Maybe this. We can get it to fill that frame. We can just increase the height again, so we get the entirety of the hand, and we can jump in and just move the focal point so it's just centered on that hand there, so we get all the detail in there. Okay, what I'm going to do now is just copy this text and then add another block to the right. Paste that text in, increase the width just a couple more. I'm going to bring it down another block to give it lots of nice breathing space in that design. Okay, I'm going to use a heading 3 and a heading 3 here again. I've got 30 seconds left. This is where I'm going to have to really cheat. And we were going to have from the blog. Okay, we're not going to do this in time. I had wanted to do a link to the blog with 3 summary posts in here, but what we're going to do now in this time is edit this section, change the background colors, and we can see that these cards change in this list format here. But I think you'll get an idea of what I was trying to achieve with this design. Lots of white space, really nice clear design. We didn't take an age, but 12 minutes was going to be way too much of a challenge for me to get this done in hindsight. We will add a contact section in the footer, which is a map, because I did say I would do that. And we're going to go with this 50-50 split page, which again is something we can now do in Squarespace, which was much harder previously. But all of a sudden, we can see this design really taking shape. So there we go. We're about a minute over time, but we did manage to just about build a website that's functioning. We've got really nice introduction. If I was to have more time, I'd be looking at reducing the space here to bring this next content area up further. Obviously, we'd be looking at a caption that would really tying in with the design. I'm not blown away with this image. I think something closer in, whether it's an individual plant, flower, or object like a watering can or something, just to tie in the two. Of course, you may be looking at this and thinking I could put my logo in there. Of course you could. Logo centrally aligned on there, almost like how a social media profile page would work. That could work really nicely. This overlap, I'd be looking at a little bit more of an overlap on most screen sizes, but that's just a little bit of trial and error, playing around with it. I'd rather that looks at the moment like it could be a little bit of a mistake, not having enough of a step in on that overlap. But I really like these alternating content areas. That's a new effect that we're going to be using regularly, I can assure you. And then the contact page, we've got our interactive map on the right, which just dovetails so nicely with the overall design. So overall, after this mini course and my first real experience with the Fluid engine, I'm quite impressed. I think there's a lot we can do with it. I'm excited about what our team can build going forward. I'm also a little bit cautious from the training perspective in terms of making sure that we're not creating designs that are too complicated for our clients just to pick up and work with because they're not working with Squarespace every day like we are. Swings and roundabouts, the moment you start stretching it a little bit more, you're going to make it too much of a challenge for beginners. But with the likes of Wix moving forward with more fluid editors, and that's always been their thing, it's really interesting to see the direction that Squarespace have taken. Hope you've enjoyed this mini course. Please like, subscribe, all that jazz, and we'll catch you next time. Cheers.